Today, we are diving deep into one of the most jaw-dropping twists in superhero TV history, Daredevil, Born Again. Shocking revelation about Foggy Nelson's death. I know you're all as fired up as I am because what we are about to break down is both mind-blowing and heart-wrenching. So buckle up, get comfortable, and let's explore every single twist, turn, and hidden detail behind why Spoiler had Foggy killed and what this means for our favorite characters. Alright, so here's the deal. In Daredevil, Born Again Episode 8, we learn that Foggy Nelson's death isn't just the result of some crazed villain rampage. It was a premeditated hit, orchestrated by none other than Vanessa Fisk. I know, right? This revelation flips everything we thought we knew about the story on its head. We all saw the chaos unfold in the previous episodes, with Bullseye's violent outbursts and those intense moments that left us gasping. But now, we have to ask ourselves, why would Vanessa, a character we once associated with Fisk's criminal dealings, be the mastermind behind Foggy's killing? So let's rewind a bit. In the early episodes of Daredevil, Born Again, the focus was scattered among multiple storylines. We had Muse's perilous journey, a near-death encounter with Heather, and then Matt racing to rescue her at the very last moment. It looked like Muse's story was coming to an end, but then we saw Heather take a drastic step, leaving us with the final two episodes that promised a grand finale filled with intense action and deep emotional stakes. Fast forward to Episode 8, where the plot thickens like a well-cooked stew. We are thrown back into memories of Daredevil, Born Again Episodes 1 and 2, where the dramatic events involving Matt and his inner circle first set the stage for the series. Remember those early scenes when Bullseye was first on the loose? We assumed that his violent spree was nothing more than the work of a madman out for revenge against Matt, Karen, and Foggy. But, as we later learn, there is so much more beneath the surface. Now, let's talk details. Foggy was not just an accidental casualty or a random victim caught in the crossfire. In one of the most suspenseful moments of the series, we see that Foggy had been celebrating his anticipated win in a major case, a case that involved a client named Benny, who was mysteriously tied to the infamous Red Hook. Red Hook, if you remember, is not just any name. It's a reference to a historic port in Brooklyn, a place that is inextricably linked to Fisk's political and criminal operations. This is where things start to get really personal. Foggy's early celebration, sharing a glass of O'Melvany's whiskey with Matt as a toast to their victories in court, was a secret signal that something big was about to go down. He was celebrating early because he was convinced of his case's win, a win that would have put a huge dent in the criminal empire run by Fisk and his associates. But fate had a different plan. It turns out that Vanessa Fisk, who had always operated behind the scenes in Fisk's criminal world, had a very different idea about how events should unfold. Vanessa was not the side character everyone assumed. She was at the center of a web of deception and power plays. With her calm and calculating manner, Vanessa orchestrated a plan that no one saw coming. Instead of letting Bullseye be a mindless hitman, she pulled the strings to ensure that Foggy's death would serve a much deeper purpose. You might be asking yourselves, why would Vanessa want Foggy dead? Well, here's where the emotion behind the twist really hits. Foggy wasn't just a lawyer or a friend to Matt. He was the heart and soul of the team, the person who brought a sense of normalcy and hope amid the chaos. His untimely death cuts deep into the fabric of the story, shaking up relationships and forcing our hero, Matt, to face another painful blow in his endless battle for justice. It isn't just a murder, it's a betrayal from someone deeply trusted. I remember watching that moment live, and my heart literally skipped a beat. We had all grown to love Foggy for his humor, his bravery, and the way he stood by Matt even during the darkest times. His death was not just a plot device, it was an emotionally charged moment that reminded us that in the world of Daredevil, even the closest friends are vulnerable. And it makes us wonder, what lengths will Vanessa go to secure her plans? And how will this personal tragedy shape Matt's journey moving forward? So let's break it down further. After the chaos of the earlier episodes, Matt finds himself trying to piece together the puzzle at Josie's place. During a tense moment, Josie, Cherry, and Matt share a drink, an emotional homage to the old tradition that Foggy and Matt had when they celebrated their court wins over O'Melvany's whiskey. For a moment, the drink becomes a symbol of nostalgia, of loyalty, and of the life that once was. But instead of comfort, this setting becomes a portal to painful memories and dark revelations. It is in this moment that Matt begins to connect the dots. He realizes that Foggy's confident celebration was more than just excitement over a win. It was a sign that something was very, very wrong behind the scenes. Remember the detail about Benny? Benny was Foggy's client and his case was directly connected to the dangerous world of Red Hook. And Red Hook isn't just a random location, it's the very heart of Fisk's ties to the criminal underworld. The fact that Foggy was so sure of his case win suggests he knew something we didn't. He knew that winning would expose dangerous secrets, secrets that if revealed, would harm the Fisk's empire. And that's where Vanessa steps in. Vanessa's motive becomes clearer. She wanted to stop these secrets from emerging at all costs. It is in this twist that Vanessa reveals her true nature. As Matt listens in on a conversation that he was never meant to hear, he recognizes that Vanessa's heart was pounding with an intensity that spoke of guilt and determination. This is a turning point in the story. The assumption that Bullseye's rampage was random is shattered, and we see that every killing and every tragic moment had a deeper, more sinister design. Vanessa was not just a bystander, she was the architect behind the plan. This brings a completely new perspective to her character, a mix of cold calculation, personal vendetta, and the desperate desire to control the narrative. Let's dive into the emotional impact of this twist. I mean, imagine being in Matt's shoes. You are fighting on every front, physical battles with villains, internal conflicts, and moral dilemmas. And then you learn that someone you believed was just part of the background, someone connected to your enemy's empire, was actually behind the murder of your best friend. It's a gut punch that forces you to question everything. Trust is shattered, and grief mixes with anger. For Matt, this loss is no longer just another case, it's a very personal wound that may change the course of his crusade as Daredevil. Now, I know many of you are reflecting on your own experiences with betrayal and loss. Life sometimes throws us curveballs we never see coming, and we are left to pick up the pieces. In a way, this twist in Daredevil, Born Again mirrors that very human experience. It reminds us that sometimes, even when we think we have everything under control, life can hit us with emotional storms, leaving us to fight our way back to the light. And that, my friends, is something we can all relate to. The reveal that Vanessa was behind Foggy's death also changes our understanding of the power dynamics in the show. Up until now, many believed that Wilson Fisk was solely responsible for the mafia-like control over New York, and that Bullseye was simply his enforcer. But now, we see Vanessa emerging as a key player. With her cunning and willingness to resort to drastic measures, she shifts the balance of power. It's not just about street-level violence anymore, this is a chess game where every move is calculated and every piece has a role in a much bigger plan. And this brings us to a major point of discussion: what does this mean for the future of Daredevil? For Matt, the betrayal by Vanessa fuels a new fire inside him. No longer is he fighting only for justice or to keep the city safe, he is fighting for the memory of a friend, for the honor of someone who stood by him through thick and thin. This twist gives his mission a renewed sense of purpose and a deeply personal angle that will shape the coming episodes. I want you all to take a moment and think about the emotional journey we are witnessing. The story arc here is clear: a once solid foundation of trust and loyalty is shaken to its core, and we are forced to confront the darker sides of human nature. In a show where heroes and villains blur together, every character's decision leaves a lasting impact. The revelation about Vanessa makes us question the cost of power, the price of secrets, and what happens when personal vendettas collide with a quest for justice. It's important to talk about the visual appeal of this twist, too. The way the show builds suspense is pure genius. Every shot, every lingering moment of silence, and every look exchanged between characters adds up to a crescendo that explodes in this moment of revelation. The close-ups of Vanessa's anxious eyes, the slow-motion sequences as memories of Foggy flash across the screen, and the stark lighting that heightens the drama all come together to give us a visual narrative that is as compelling as the dialogue. This is what makes Daredevil, Born Again not just a story, but an experience that you feel deep in your soul. Now, let's talk about community and identity for a bit. As fans, we have built a tight-knit community around this show. We debate theories, share our favorite moments, and even cry over the loss of characters who have become a part of our lives. This twist, however, invites us to rethink our identity as fans. It forces us to examine our loyalty and support for characters we once held dear. It's a reminder that in storytelling, just as in life, change is inevitable and sometimes painful, but it's also a spark for new beginnings. We are all on this journey together, seeking answers and holding on to hope that our heroes will rise again from the ashes of betrayal. And that's where our call to action comes in. I want each one of you to join in on this conversation. What do you think about Vanessa's role in Foggy's death? How does this twist reshape your view of the characters in Daredevil, Born Again? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, share your theories, and let's discuss how this revelation might change the course of the series. Your opinions are what make this community so unique and vibrant. I also want you to consider the larger themes at play here. This twist isn't just about one character killing another, it's about the nature of power and betrayal. It reminds us that those who seem trustworthy can sometimes harbor the darkest secrets, and that the path to redemption is paved with pain, loss, and hard truths. As we watch Matt take on this new burden, we are reminded of the resilience of the human spirit. Each time we face adversity, we find within ourselves the strength to fight back, to love harder, and to never give up even when the odds seem impossible. Take a moment and visualize this: the streets of New York, shrouded in a deep, gloomy mist, echo with the footsteps of those seeking justice. Every flickering light, every shadow cast on the walls, all serve as symbols of the complicated dance between right and wrong. The visual storytelling of Daredevil, Born Again pulls us in by making us feel like we are walking right beside Matt as he struggles through these troubled times. It's as if each frame of the show is painted with raw emotion and the weight of history. And with every new piece of information that unfolds, we are drawn deeper into a story that is as tragic as it is heroic. I know many of you have felt the same sting of loss when one of your favorite characters leaves the screen, and for many of us, Foggy's death hit close to home. It is these moments of emotional vulnerability that remind us why we love superhero stories in the first place. They remind us that even in a world filled with extraordinary powers, our greatest battles are the ones fought within our hearts. And when characters like Matt and Foggy lead the charge, they do so not just with fists or gadgets, but with passion, resilience, and an unyielding belief that even the deepest wounds can heal over time. Speaking of passion, let's dive a little deeper into Vanessa's motivations. On the surface, her actions might seem cold and calculated, but when we peel back the layers, we see a character driven by a mixture of personal loss, ambition, and a desire to protect her own interests. Her hand in Foggy's death wasn't just about keeping secrets, it was about reclaiming control in a world where power often comes at a high price. As painful as it is to accept, sometimes even those who seem to fight for justice can choose paths that lead to unforeseen darkness. This is why Daredevil, Born Again is so compelling. It forces us to realize that there are no clear-cut heroes or villains, only flawed individuals trying to navigate a treacherous world. And in this murky moral landscape, every decision carries weight. Vanessa's plot to have Foggy killed isn't just a moment of shock, it is a narrative pivot that will redefine alliances, reshape power structures, and leave us questioning what we thought we knew about every character on the screen. I want to share a little personal story here because I think it really ties into the bigger picture. There was a time in my own life when I was betrayed by someone I trusted deeply. The feeling of shock, the heartache, and the struggle to understand why it happened, it all felt surreal. Watching Foggy's fate unfold on Daredevil felt similar, and it reminded me that even the strongest bonds can be broken by secrets and lies. But here's the thing: we learned and grew from those experiences. And in watching Matt deal with this newfound betrayal, I am reminded that every setback, every moment of heartbreak, can be the catalyst for a stronger, more determined spirit. So here we stand today, right at the edge of a new chapter for Daredevil, Born Again. With Vanessa revealed as the mastermind behind Foggy's death, we are left with more questions than answers. What does this mean for Matt? How will his quest for justice evolve when his closest ally has been taken away by treachery? And most importantly, can Matt and his remaining team gather the strength to confront this new enemy who has shattered their world from within? As we reflect on these questions, I urge you to stay tuned and keep the conversation alive. Let's take this moment to remember that while this twist is painful, it is also the beginning of a new journey. A journey where every painful loss is a stepping stone to greater heights, where the lessons learned pave the way for redemption and a renewed spirit of resistance. In the world of Daredevil, darkness is always met with a spark of light, and it is up to us as fans to fuel that light by holding on to hope, by sharing our stories, and by rallying around the heroes we love. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you all to take a minute to hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive into Daredevil's dramatic twist. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you won't miss our next breakdown of where this story is headed. Every time you share your thoughts in the comments, you help build a community that stands together through every twist, turn, and heart-wrenching moment of this epic saga. Remember, this isn't just another fan theory or review, it's a conversation about how our shared love for storytelling can help us navigate our own personal battles. We are a community of believers in the power of redemption, in the resilience of the human spirit, and in the idea that every end is just the start of something new. So, as you think about the pain of losing someone like Foggy, also remember that every loss carries with it the promise of a new beginning. Every shadow, no matter how dark, is eventually dispelled by light. And as we journey on with Daredevil, Born Again, let's keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep connecting with one another. Your insights, your theories, and your emotions are what make this whole experience so much richer. I truly believe that when we come together as a community, we not only celebrate the victories but also find comfort and strength in our shared struggles. This is what makes our connection more than just fan discussions, it's a bond built on our shared passion for stories that reflect the real battles of life. So, to wrap things up, here's what we know: Vanessa's revelation as the one behind Foggy's murder isn't just a plot twist, it's a turning point that changes the entire narrative of Daredevil, Born Again. It is an emotionally impactful moment that cuts deep, a reminder of the cost of secrets and betrayal, and a call for our heroes to fight even harder for what they believe in. For Matt, it's a personal fight now, a fight fueled by the memory of a friend, a fight that will lead him down a dangerous and unpredictable path. Thank you all for sticking with me as we unpack this incredible twist together. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on how this revelation will shape the rest of the series. Do you believe there is more to Foggy's death than meets the eye? What do you think will happen next in Matt's struggle against the corrupt forces of New York? Let me know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed hanging out with me and diving into every little detail of this epic story, please share this video with your friends and fellow Daredevil fans. Let's spread the discussion across our community and show the world that no matter how dark the night gets, our shared light always shines through. Together, we are unstoppable, and every twist in the tale only makes our fight for truth and justice that much more personal. I'm so glad you're here with me on this journey. Stay tuned for more updates, more theories, and more deep dives into the world of Daredevil and beyond. Keep the conversation alive, keep questioning, and keep believing that even the deepest scars can lead to the greatest stories of redemption. This is just the beginning, and I know that together, we'll rise above any challenge thrown our way. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and never forget that every hero, no matter how broken they may seem, has the strength to rise again. See you in the next video where we will continue to explore and unravel the mysteries of Daredevil, Born Again, one twist at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, in the face of darkness, our light never fades.